Today we are going to do milk jug gardening. Yes, milk jugs. I'm Holly, if we haven't met before, and welcome to the Modern Homestead Revival. I'm a wife, a mother, and a Florida master naturalist. And here we try just all kinds of experiments. We're trying to do different things here in our suburban homestead. Gardening can be a challenge, so I'm always learning new things and giving it a try. If you never try, you never get anywhere, right? So we have container gardens in different spots around here, and this year I'm trying something a little bit new. It's a variation on the wicking system. We have a lot of rainstorms, we have a lot of drought, and then there's the hurricanes. So if we can ever get anything going, it's a good thing. So today we're going to use milk jugs and make portable small gardens that I can move around myself. I can move it in different locations, and I can grow one thing. So this is a milk jug that I've cut off the top, and I did keep the handle on it. We're going to use that as part of our wicking system. Now what I also did was I took my drill and I drilled a couple of holes down on the side, and they're about 2 inches high for this mini system here. And that is for water to drain. I did not put any holes in the bottom because we're going to keep water in the bottom to try to wick up into our plants and keep them hydrated. So now the bottom inside, I'm going to use 2 tin cans. These are coffee, brisk coffee. And they have an opening, which is fine because water is going to go in there. But what I did do is I took my drill again and I drilled 2 holes together here, 2 holes. Those are going to be my air holes. All right, so when I put them down in here, I'm going to make sure that those holes are on the side and kind of tilted up to the side, not on top, because I don't want the dirt to just rush in there. I want them to be kind of on the side. And I'm going to take 2. So we need to drill holes in this one. So we're using 2 cans with one 1-gallon milk jug. This was a water jug. Same thing, same idea. Okay? So the idea is that we're going to keep water in the bottom. There's going to be a little air space that's going to help to not drown the plants. And then if a rainstorm comes and we have too much water coming in the top, we have drain spouts, so the water won't get that high. It won't get above our air holes. Now I left the handle of our milk jug because we need a spout that we're going to pour water in. So what this is I had some big pieces of bamboo lying around, and I had my son just take a regular hand saw and I had him cut me pieces of the bamboo. So if you cut the bamboo at the notches, you're going to get nice hollow sticks. Basically, we use these for making whistles, but they're going to work great for this project. And what I'm going to do is stick it down into the handle, and I'm going to make sure though that it goes all the way down to the bottom. We're going to use a funnel, and that's how we're going to water our plant. So if our plant's getting dry on the top, we're going to water it with a funnel. The water is going to go down into our space in the bottom, and it's going to wick up to the plant. Now from here, there's different things you could do. What I'm doing is I'm using what I have on hand. You could use a landscape fabric over the top of the cans. You could even use burlap if you had some burlap, just something that could allow the water to rise up. And I don't have that, but you can still use potting soil to do the job. So I'm going to take my potting soil and I'm going to fill up partially our jug, and I have been sprouting some mini peppers, and that's what I'm going to put in here. I'm going to put 1 plant, and I'm going to experiment and see if this is enough room for 1 plant to grow in this milk jug. Okay, now I'm going to make room here, and I'm going to transplant. So I have some plants in here that I have been working with. I have 6 or 8 in here, and I am going to transplant one of these do my best without without killing it, right down in here. All right, and at this point I would want to come up on that stem just to give it a good strong stem. So I'm going to come around it here. And he's still a baby, this guy, but in this jug I will be able to move him around. If he's getting too much sun and too hot, I can move the jug and take care of that. Now I would water from the beginning on the top. I would put some fertilizer in here as well, which I don't have out here with me. So I'm just going to go ahead and water this in. You know, when you're working with potting soil, it kind of floats, so I want to get this packed down and make sure that my little plant is good and packed down in here. One thing you could do is fill it to test your holes that you made to make sure that the drip is going to work. I did that with some of my other ones and it worked beautifully. All right. So this is how we can do a simple milk jug garden. I'm going to do this with several of my transplants, and I think I'm going to see if I can grow the entire plant in here. Why this works for me here in Florida is doing a raised bed even has not worked for me in the past. We have moles like crazy, we have nematodes, like I'm just battling all kinds of things. So I would like to be able to containerize a lot of things. Now I do live in a house full of boys, but none of them are quite interested in gardening right now, so I have to be able to take care of it on my own. I can pick it up, I can move it around, I can move it for sun, move it for shade. I've done a couple plants that so far are very successful, so I'm going to try with the seedlings. Now we could do some mulch on the top, and I live in the south. My trees are full of Spanish moss, and that is what I like to use. It's free. I have it on hand. So I'm going to take the Spanish moss and I'm going to tuck it around. And I want to be sure that I don't get it too close to my little plant that it gets covered or smushed. And I'm just going to break off pieces of the moss and get it around the plant like that. All right. So that is what that looks like. I've got a little bit of moss around there. It's sort of encircling the plant. We're ready to go. When it's still kind of hardening off, I can put this out, and if it's getting too much sun, I can move it back into the shade. And when it gets a good size, then I can go ahead and put it in my side garden. I've got an area where I'm gonna put all these things, and I know what you're thinking. The milk jug is not real pretty to look at. So this is what I've decided to do, and I'll try to put a picture in with this post, is I have taken pieces of raised bed, made my squares where my sun is. I'm gonna put all my my milk jugs, and I'm using some bigger ones as well in there. And then I'm gonna put some hay around. So when you glance at my garden, you're not gonna see the milk jugs. You're gonna see the hay that sort of is going to make a mulching effect on top. I could do mulch as well, but hay is gonna distribute a little bit better for me, I think. And when you look over there, you'll see the plants coming up, but you won't see the milk jugs. We'll see how that goes. So I'll keep you posted on that. But if you're looking for a quick way to garden, doing milk jug gardening is quick and easy. It's a great project for the kids. Everything I had on hand. You could use anything that has a hole all the way through. You could use PVC, lots of different things you might want to have on hand that you could do. You could even craft a piece of plastic on the inside to keep the water flowing down. There's lots of things, but I did have this. It kind of fits in with the natural aspect here, and I'm hoping that we're gonna get lots of peppers. I wanted to take you on a quick tour of what our wicking garden looks like. So this is the area where I put all of those things I showed you how to plant. I've got okra, I have bell peppers, I have tomatoes, a couple flowers. Everything's looking good. I even have blooms on my dragon beans. So this is what it looks like. The pipe sticking up again is how I water. They're weird sizes because I scavenged through my husband's garage. That's what I found.